Hey, it's the Mike Rogers Show here with you, Mike Rogers. And today's guest is a very special friend of mine, actually. And his name is Marc Platt, and he is in Hollywood, California. He does a radio show called Radio Candy that's really popular and is syndicated all over the world. Give a big hand to Marc Platt. Hey, Marc.
Hi, Mike. How are you?
So, Marc, can you give us a better introduction of yourself?
This is my radio voice.
Oh, that's your radio voice?
Yes. Nobody really knows my real voice. All right. enough with the goo-goo talk. Hey, so it's nighttime here, as you can see, in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And, very excited to talk to you again, Mike. We haven't talked in a while.
No. I haven't. It's been.
We have a lot of stuff.
It's been a couple of years, hasn't it?
We have a lot of stuff to talk about, don't we?
Yeah.
Like when we first talked, you had about 31 stations.
No. I started my very first internet show. You mean internet radio, right?
Yes.
My very first internet show was on a station called KOR Radio.
I'm familiar with it.
Yeah. And the guy, he just blew my mind. He said to me, hey, why don't you do a show on this KOR Radio? And I was like, well, I don't know. And he says, look, no. We can broadcast it at exactly the same time as your former show in Japan. And I was like, really? Sunday,
I love that show.
5 a.m. And I just said okay, and from that it's just grown. And well, this interview isn't about me, but it's on WFMU, it's on LoveFM in Kyushu, and it's on, like, I don't know, well, more than 40 stations.
Whoever that guy was, he was smart.
He's a smart, very smart guy, and he was a really close friend of a mutual friend of ours,
Mr. John Ferreter.
Yeah, John Ferreter. Rest in peace, John. Wish you were here for this interview. But tell us about Radio Candy. What is Radio Candy? Where can we hear it? How long has it been going on? What kind of music you play, or whatever?
Well, that Radio Candy show actually started out on that same station, that KOR station. That was the first station to carry it.
Really?
And then,
That's guy, weird.
Whoever that guy was really smart to put both Mike Rogers and the Radio Candy show on the same station. And then it went on pop radio, and then it went on, that show's been on about 25 stations also.
Oh.
And you know what I like, Mike, is the fact that my show, I play just so much it's all new stuff from everywhere.
Well, I hear it every week. I heard it today. So
like the new, just the unsigned stuff comes to Radio Candy, and a lot of end up getting a lot of the stuff too. So, which is great. And I know that you play a lot of more Japanese and some Western stuff, but what I love is our shows give a home to people.
Yeah.
Look, the way I look at it is this: I've been an artist for 40 years. And I remember when I first started out in like 1982, 83, a few years after when you started out, when I worked at Rhino Records, the label, they, few people have heard this story, but, they basically, I told them I want to put out a record. And since I worked there, my late great friend, Gary Stewart, who was my boss there, stuck a piece of paper on my desk with a list of everything that I need to do to put out a record. And this is kind of before the DIY days, do it yourself. So I had a lot of good fortunate luck there. I did the first record. It got a really great review in the Herald Examiner here in Los Angeles. And then I ended up, doing exactly what Gary told me, send it to all these different stations and writers around the world. And it got on some charts, and that kind of laid the groundwork for what my career is now. I'm an admin for the Radio Indie Alliance, which does indie charts for radio stations. And I do my Radio Candy promo business, and my company now has about 7 employees, and we are putting together a platform, with an app and all this different stuff, and it's kind of cool. But the thing is, if you go back to the roots, from, where I started and like where you started, with the Rogers and stuff, where we would put out our own records, we would get these stations to play it. Rodney played our first record. Rodney played your first record, and, and K-Rock played your stuff. It was really cool. But now it's so different in one respect that back in those days, there was a limited amount of stations that would play new artists, unsigned artists, right?
Yeah.
And, college radio was a bigger deal, and it's still the same mess now that it was back then, with high turnover and all these different things. I don't trust college radio, but I do trust indie radio because a lot of the stations are run by mom and pop, right?
Yeah.
And these are lifers. These are people that have been in the music business or been, did other things, but they always wanted to run a radio station. And there's some stations like Belter Radio that has somewhere between 850 and 1 million listeners, and that's an indie, right? And Belter Radio is a great. So I'm saying there's a lot of different, you get anywhere from 50 to, 5 million people listening to certain kinds of stations. So I think it was really important for your show and my show and certain shows like maybe Woody Radio and just different people we know, Tim Livingston, his shows, Radio Warfare, and all these different shows that really give a chance for artists to find a home. And what's happened, Mike, which is great since I've been doing, my shows and all that stuff for the last 7 years, is that I've noticed all these artists support each other. Like you'll see people chiming in on their charts or whatever, saying it's great to be on this chart with all these different bands, this band, whatever, and it's a big deal to the artists because they've gone unnoticed. I mean, I've worked so many bands in Boston in my promo thing. Great bands like the Dogmatics, who have been around for 35 years. They're kind of like the replacements of Boston, right? A lot of these Boston bands were local heroes, right?
Yeah.
They were never able to break out of their region until, some of us started pushing, the envelope, getting the UK and France and Japan and all these different countries involved. And now Boston is kind of like expanded out, right? And New York and some of these other like I've worked probably, I want to say 250 bands out of Boston over the last 7 years. Those bands, a lot of those bands are on the international radar of these stations.
Hey, wait a second. There's a boom of Boston bands now.
Right.
And I've noticed that because I get a lot of emails from bands and or bands or their agents or whoever, and they'll say like, this is the new rave from Boston, or this band's really happening in Boston. So there's a whole big scene going on in Boston now.
You want to know how we did it? I'll tell you how we did it. So Lou Mansdorf, who runs Rum Bar, he called me like 3-4 years ago and he said, I want you to work some of my bands on my label. He's got a kind of a punky proto, kind of a label, right? Yeah. And I said, great. I would love to. I love that kind of stuff. And I said, you know what, Lou? Why don't we methodically take the Boston rock scene and put it on the map? And one of the bands on his label at the time was Justine and the Unclean. And Justine decided she wanted to put a label together called Red on Red Records. Yeah. And so I talked to her and I said, hey, you want to join in with what we're doing? I'll promote all of your bands and whatever. And I give them a cool deal, Rum Bar and Red on Red, and they have their own deals with me and stuff. And we've taken all these bands, and now it's over 200 bands.
Wow.
And then what it ended up happening, Mike, was a lot of the other bands that were not on those labels started reaching out and saying, hey, can you do what you did for the Dogmatics for us? And I said, well, I can get it to the stations, but I'm not going to guarantee, I still, how I am. I believe the marketplace dictates success. The market, the radio stations and the market is going to tell you if you got a hit or you have, a popular song or a song that's going to work. But the thing is, like, I have 7 or 8 different labels that I work stuff for. And
Good.
I was funny. Mike, you're gonna laugh when I tell you this. I was talking to one of the labels, a newer label today, and he said, "Hey, Marc, I noticed that my band, I'm just gonna go XYZ,
Mm-hmm.
kind of dropped off the top 75 on the Radio Indie Alliance, and I'm going to start hearing about it." And I let him have it, Mike. I said, "Dude," I said, I do the same exact thing for all the bands. I don't push one band more than another. The marketplace will tell you if you have a hit. And if a band isn't cutting it, and they don't have a top 10, whatever, I said they should be inspired to go write a better song and better production and release a better song so that they'll have that song. The whole idea, Mike, is to raise the bar, and the artists have to take the cue from the stations who support them, and they got to go out and write better songs and promote them and do all the things that you need to do to be successful, whatever you define success is. But that's what I think was lacking all these years. I felt that there was no engine like Radio Indie Alliance and the legit promo services like ours. We're very transparent. The way Radio Candy does it, we post all of our placements on Twitter and Facebook on our pages. There's a lot of these stations that tweet out in real time when their song is playing on the air.
Yeah.
So my artists see the airplay. You know what I mean? I don't tell people, "Hey, I'm doing great for you." I show them this is what's happening. And it's not just because of us. It's because of you. Like, you gave us a good song to work. And the stations are picking it up and it's getting airplay, and you're seeing the airplay, and you're seeing these stations like Mike Rogers Show support your song on their charts or whatever it is. So to me, that's what this is all about. It's about being transparent. It's about raising the bar, right?
Yeah.
And then it's about having a home for indie artists. That's what this is all about.
Wow. Okay, so Radio Candy is on 25 stations now?
Something like that.
Like,
I lost track.
What countries is that? Is that all in the United States or?
No, UK, Germany, England,
Wow.
Yeah, a bunch of different.
So I'm an artist and I want to get my song. I want to be played on Radio Candy. What do I do? I mean,
yeah. And by the way, I play almost everything. I will play at least one song from everybody if I can. So what they do is people just send me an email with an MP3 attached, because I really hate the links.
Okay, wait a minute. They send you an email.
Yes, and with
MP3 has to be
attached to it, to candyradiohitsongs@yahoo.com. And if you send me one, if you try to send me a full album, I don't know what happens, Mike, but my hand hits the delete button. And the email, I don't know what happened, but there's been so many emails that just got deleted. I like, "Hey, Marc," and Mike, the email always starts like this: "Marc, I hope you're doing well. I hope you've had a great summer. My band just recorded a full album. Here it is. Here's something." And I don't know what happens, but the next thing I look at it and it got deleted.
Wow.
And this happens like 20 times a week. These poor artists that, they think that, like you or me has time to listen to a full album. And then I don't know what it is, but it's just like an automatic reflex.
Maybe I think it's internet gremlins.
No, Mike, you know what happens? I'll go grab my tea like this and I'll be drinking it. And then all of a sudden, the email just disappears.
Okay, wait. Then, so wait. So what is?
Bad.
Tell me the best way. So I have an artist, and I have an album. We just recorded an album. There's 12 songs on it or whatever, and I want to get some airplay on Radio Candy, which is actually a really good way to get. A lot of places listen to Radio Candy, and then they pick up songs from that and put it in their chart, and that's how you build what's it called? Build momentum.
Exactly.
So
I'll tell you how it works. I mean, it's pretty simple.
Mm.
You record. You're a band. You recorded an album. You got a song that's like 3 minutes, 3:30, but no longer than that.
Yeah.
And it just rocks. It's got great hooks and it rocks. You send that to me at candyradiohitsongs@yahoo.com, and then I play it. But if you send me like a 6-minute ballad with, a 1-minute intro and a 3-minute guitar solo in the middle, I don't know what happens, but I get my teeth. I'm drinking.
But so wait, Marc. So okay. So let's say I'm just like I'm a college student. I'm a promoter. I've never done this before. What is, because I get lots of like really long letters from people.
Oh, I know.
And click here for an EPK, click this, and I'm just like, I don't even want to look at this, but I feel bad for them.
I take my mouse, right?
Yeah.
And then I start scrolling down. And then all of a sudden the email disappears because there's like 5 links, and then there's like a million pictures, and then there's like a picture of the girl wearing a bikini, and then there's like a long thing explaining that, how the band met and all that stuff. Like, I want, when I send out my blasts for my songs that I promote,
yeah,
you've seen this. It's like one sentence. Hey, here's another song from, yada, yada, yada. It kind of sounds like Nick Lowe meets The Clash in a back alley. And then I put their Twitter, handle and their Facebook link, and that's it. And then the artwork, and then the MP3, and that's like the whole email. And you know what? Like 98% of the stations will play it, because they love Marc, because Marc sends them. They don't have to do any work. Marc did all the work. It's all in like 2 sentences.
Well, I don't want to.
I wish bands, like, if bands did that all the time to me.
I know. I
don't hit delete. I hit download.
and
then I download the song, and then it plays.
Another one that I get a lot, and this really drives me crazy. It'll say, this fantastic new band from wherever, and really inspired by, and then you go down to the mail, and then there's a big JPEG right at the top, saying the label's name, and it's just like, why do you guys just tell me, like you said. So anyways, on the mail it should just say, hi Marc, here is the newest from blah blah blah. It's a punk band from Derby,
Louisiana, or Massachusetts, wherever. That's all we need to know.
That's all you need to know. It is all you need to know.
If it's good, then we'll play it.
Yeah. I can't stand it when people start telling me, Julia got into music when her heart was broken because her horse that she used to ride in the valleys of. I'm just like, what?
It's now being served at the restaurant down
the street here in Japan.
No, Mike, listen to me, dude. Listen, Mike, seriously about this. If I were an artist, I would be wanting to go out of my way to make sure that Mike and Marc plays their songs. And I would want to make it so easy for them to say yes. Right. And if you just do real simple, math, and understand that Mike and Marc get somewhere between 250 and 500 emails a week.
Well, I don't get 500, but I get at least 200.
Right. I get some because of all my different businesses. I get like 500. So if I have to go through 500 worn pieces and read, and then I scroll down. First thing I do is I'll scroll down. I'll take my mouse and I'll scroll down to look for the damn, download where I can download the song. And then I see it's not there. And then I have to go back to the top of the email. Oh, here's a Dropbox link. Okay. And by the way, I'm getting better at this, Mike, because I used to just like delete those accidentally,
Yeah.
But I don't. If I see like a Dropbox, I'll open it. But if I see like 12 songs in there, oh my God, the tea. I'm drinking my tea, and then all of a sudden, boom, it just disappears. I won't even download the top song because you know why, Mike? I take it personally.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many artists trying to get on our shows and our stations.
That's true.
That the bands that are expecting us to listen and play all of their songs on a record are not really being thoughtful towards their fellow artists.
Mm-hmm.
Because for every song that we play of theirs, if we played 6 songs,
mm-hmm.
that's 6 other artists that are not going to make the cut on the record on the show. It's not fair. So just be a team player, guys. If you're a team player, send us one song every 2 or 3 weeks
mm-hmm.
at most, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't send us I just wrote another one. Here it is. 3 days later. It's like, I don't want to see 2 songs from me. And then what really chaps me a little, Mike? Is when this chaps me.
Okay. What's that?
When I get the same song from multiple promoters and the band. So like the band may send me the song and then they hire like 2 different promoters to promote it. So I get 3 versions of the same song from the same artist from different sources.
Yeah.
That's upsetting, Mike.
Actually,
it's pretty upsetting.
That doesn't happen to me a lot, but that has happened to me.
It happens.
I saw a song and then I thought, wait a minute, I think I've heard of this song before. And then I check, it's like, oh, and there's like, it's 2 emails, one after another, the same song from different people.
Right. And then, I'll tell you something that really interests me, Mike, is when I get a song from another promoter that I'm actually promoting also.
Oh.
So I'm getting kind of 2-timed by the artist. And I'm like, I have to, reach out to the artist and say, do you know what's really unnerving to me is when I send something out and someone else is sending the same thing out. It makes me look really bad.
Yeah.
And like,
it does. It does.
That I don't know what's going on.
Oh.
And you're making that happen to me. And then I get my tea out and then I delete them.
Well, let me tell you, this is a little bit different, but this is like a Japan case. There'll be a lot of foreign talent, like TV talent stuff.
Right.
I mean, they're not really TV talent, but whatever. And they don't trust the management companies because it seems like a question of trust, what you're talking about. So they won't trust the management companies. So they'll go out and get 3 different management companies. So the 3 different management companies send their bio out to stations or whatever. And this has happened to me when I was general manager at a big radio station. We got a bio and it was a bio of the same guy from 3 different companies. And I said to the Japanese staff, what are we going to do about this? And they said, we can't hire him. Like, even if he's the best person, no, we can't hire him. Because if you hire him from company A, then company B is going to be mad. Then company C is going to be mad.
Right.
So doing that is just stupid. The best way is to do your homework, get, what do you call it? Testimonials from other people.
Right. Do your due diligence.
Do diligence and pick the right person.
Yeah, Mike, I'm telling you, Mike, I run a company and I take the same approach in all of our business stuff that I do in my promotion. It's the same kind of a thing. It's just like you have to have integrity. You want people to trust you. The first call I have with my clients is the most important call I'm ever going to have.
Oh,
like my business really depends on the people that I work with understanding what the deliverable is.
Yeah.
Right. Because when I first started doing this, people were having a very unrealistic, approach. Like, Marc, how much money can I make from the internet? Nothing. It's like, you're not going to make money. How much money will I expect to get back from, doing this promo? None. That's not why we're doing this. And then I explained to them, about how to brand your project, put yourself on the radar. So, and then I teach them how to do a clean Facebook music page, a clean Twitter page, so that if someone who signs checks wants to work with you, they're going to go to that Facebook page and they're going to scroll down and see all the placement stuff. They're going to see all the charts, but it's going to be done in a really orderly, neat fashion. And if you don't pin your latest single to the top of your page, it's going to frustrate Mr. or Mrs. check signer person who wants to hear the song while they're looking at all the awesome radio placements that you did without a label and things like that. So I teach them branding, and it's really, and that I do it on the first call, and then I kind of go and I monitor a couple weeks in, like, are they sharing? Are they retweeting? Are they resharing out? I basically check all my clients at one point during a week. And then I notice some of them are just really lazy and they just reshare the post that I put. And then I had to explain to them again, you don't want to clutter your page with, 30 posts of stuff. You want to grab like 6 to 8 logos and just go, we want to thank these stations for adding this song or whatever it is. And they, when I first explain it to them, they don't really understand it. And then I repeat it. Here's why. If you have 20 posts on there of 3 logos, people will scroll down and they get tired after about 10 seconds. So, but if you have one post with like 6 or 8 logos, and then thanks to these stations, people see the nice colorful logos, then they scroll down a little more. Oh, look, they're on 4, 5 charts that are all thanks for putting us on these charts. And then there's 5 charts. They scroll down a little more radio placements. Scroll down a little more charts. It's orderly. It looks good. They're listening to the song. They're getting reinforcement, seeing that it's on stations and on charts. But if you do it the wrong way, you just clutter your page up, people will just give up after like 10 seconds. Like this is a mess. I try to explain not to make a mess. It's very simple. You know what? You know how long it takes for the band to do their part of what we do? It takes 5 minutes a week, right? 5 minutes a week.
Well, I'm kind of busy right now there, Mark. 5 minutes.
It may take me 6-7 hours of getting the work done, the placements, and getting all the, you know what I mean? And it just takes them 5 minutes a week to organize what I've done for them and put it together in a nice, orderly manner. And I'm telling you, like, Haley and the Crushers, they got signed after we started working with them. We've had successful acts work with us that know how promotion works. And Haley's one of those people, she knows how it works. So she works it correctly. And she got on Kitten Robot Records. She's on
that's Josie Cotton's label.
Right.
That's the big, that's like one step below the huge big time.
There you go.
So if someone sends you let's say I'm a new band and I don't have anyone doing that, so your company does that kind of a promotion and teaching.
They can go to radiocandy.media. That's our website. And then we give everybody a 20% discount the first time they use it. So they, there's a promo code that says first campaign, and they get it. So instead of $250 for that first campaign, it's $200. Or if they do a 2-song, instead of $500, it's $400. We give them a 20% discount. So, you know why? Because we believe in our work. We believe I would say 90% of the people we work with come back and do multiple campaigns with us. Our prices are reasonable, and then we have a lot of transparency, and we cut them a break that first thing because we want them to try it out.
That's actually surprisingly cheap.
No, never use the word cheap. Inexpensive.
Oh, okay.
Cheap connotates bad.
Yeah.
To me.
So
inexpensive is a better way to play it.
You have this network, this channel of hundreds of radio stations, right?
Yep.
So, and then you are also working. You're an admin at Radio Indie Alliance.
Yeah, as one of the.
How does that work?
Okay, so, but some of us stations got together 2015, and we were pretty fed up with the way, like Billboard charts are like genre charts, where people have to pay tens of thousands of dollars, basically pay to play to get on those genre charts. We said, you know what? There's probably a better way to do it. where stations can support. So about 6 or 7 of us stations got together and then started calling all our friends, and like you were one of the first people, I think, like, and you were like, yeah, I want to do this because, and
It's a
at the time
no-brainer. I mean, for a DJ to join into this,
and you were at Inter FM at the time that you'd started doing it. So kudos to you on that, because you had to go through their red tape at that time, and then you kept doing it, and then you kept adding all these shows, and you have different charts, and you have all and look, like I said before, an artist feels way more supported when a station or a show is putting them on the chart than rather than some kind of magical mystical algorithm that puts them on a genre chart. That all of a sudden, what I liken it to, Mike? I liken it to the wealthy parents that buy a wing at a university, and then their son and daughter goes to Harvard or something. You know what I mean? Hey, I bought it's the Joe Shlomo, library at Harvard, and oh, look, my son, he's gonna graduate, like with honors. It's amazing. No, but the music business I've talked about this all over the years. It started out as a bunch of cabinet makers wanting to have, space to put Victrolas and some 78 records in. And so they hired these scouts to go out and record these poor, blues and jazz artists out on the Delta, right? And the music business has not improved much since 1921 when they started doing all this. And then the radio stations came aboard. Like, the music business has been this one big melting pot of throw it against the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just going to say, Mike, since I've been doing Radio Candy and doing all these ventures and consulting with these stations or whatever, I feel, and working with guys like you, I feel like there is a rhyme or reason to the music business. I feel that the indie is the great untapped, resource in the music business that has not completely been bastardized by the music business. And so like the Radio Indie Alliance has become a very formidable, in fact, the top 75 chart the last 2 or 3 weeks, there's been over 1,000 Facebook shares.
Wow.
Of just the top 75, right?
Yeah, well, I've had bands, Japanese bands, who showed up, like in the number 20 or something. I just told them, hey, you can brag about this,
Yeah.
So,
and here's the thing, what the thing is cool about it? The way it works in social media is it's usually 10-1. So if 1,000 people shared it, most likely 10,000 people saw it.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
I mean, that's the rule of thumb. So look, we're at all these stations. We're all very proud of the work we've done with Radio Indie Alliance.
Yeah.
And, basically what I do is I do a lot of tagging and posting, posting and tagging, but it's not my work. It's your work and all these others. You know what I mean? It's kind of a non-profit, not-for-profit thing, but it's an engine that makes the indie scene go. That's the way we look at it.
Cool. That's so
right.
Cool.
And like we were saying before, when artists need to have a home, well, those charts, I'm telling you, dude, they come out midnight on the East Coast on Wednesday nights. The station charts start dropping. By morning, all of these station charts have a bunch of, likes and comments and all that stuff. I mean, people are waiting for them. And then Saturday at noon East Coast time, something like that, they draw our main office for Radio Indie Alliance in Connecticut. But so those charts drop at, I think, noon on Saturdays for the top 75. They start getting shared immediately, like all over the place.
Wow.
So it's very exciting. It's exciting.
That's really cool what you're doing with Radio Candy, Radio Indie Alliance. It's really cool, and I'm glad to know you and glad that you're holding up the torch, Marc. Holding up the torch.
I will never delete you, Mike Rogers. I will never unfriend you or delete you.
So Marc, we've got to stop this broadcast, but I'd like to interview you again soon. But thanks for today. You've been fantastic.
Thank you, Mike Rogers.
Thank you.
Can we
Thank
talk
you.
about puppetry next time? Maybe.
Oh,
puppetry.
okay.
Puppetry.
So, anyways, today's guest was Mr. Marc Platt from Radio Candy, and he's a music promoter and he's a DJ, and he's a really great guy. I'm Mike Rogers, and if you like this video, go down here, subscribe and like, and please share it. So we'll see you back here tomorrow. Bye. Bye, Marc.
Namaste.